Here's the list and order of snakes we'll see and learn about in this video. Click like and subscribe, and let's learn about these beautiful snakes. The Mexican Cantil, Echistrodon bilonitis, a pit viper found in Mexico and Central America. The average length of this species is 2 feet. Other common names include the Mexican moccasin. The genus of the Cantil, Echistrodon, may sound familiar to some of you. That's right, the copperhead and cottonmouth are also species belonging to the Echistrodon genus. There are different species of Cantil, which were once subspecies of this one. Cantils are born with the bright greenish, yellowish tail tips, which they use to lure in prey. This behavior is called caudal luring, sticking the tail straight up in the air, wiggling it around like a worm to attract prey. As they age, the brightness of this tail coloration fades a little bit, but in my experience, this fading isn't as drastic as copperheads and cottonmouths. Adults still retain some of that different coloration tail tip, which you've probably seen on this one, even though it's an adult. Cantils possess a hemotoxic venom for subduing prey. My favorite thing about Cantils is that facial marking. Just incredible. Echistrodon bilonitis. The slender hog-nosed pit viper, Porthidium ophriomagus. This is a species found in Central America, and also a species I don't know much about. They average in length of about 1.5 feet to 2 feet long. And with this species, females grow larger than males. And the body, unlike the Mexican Cantil that we just saw, is a much more slender build compared to the heavy body of the Cantil. Now the pattern on this snake is incredible. The blotchy pattern, but most of all, that orange stripe that goes down the back. That's my favorite thing about them. Now they have hemotoxic venom used to subdue prey, which would consist of rodents, lizards, and even frogs. Now the one that you see in this video is pretty much a sub-adult. Not quite a juvenile, but not an adult. Colin did have a few others that were closer to the baby side, extremely tiny, could probably coil up on $50. We are about to see 3 species of forest cobra, starting with the white-lipped forest cobra, Naja melanoleuca, found in Africa. And the forest cobras are the largest species of true cobra, those belonging in the genus Naja, growing up to 10 feet long. Forest cobras were originally just one species, the one mentioned here, Naja melanoleuca. They have been separated into 5 different species. The next one in this video is Naja guineensis, the black forest cobra. And this is where the issue of common names comes into play, because Naja melanoleuca is also sometimes referred to as the black forest cobra. But genetic differences between guineensis and melanoleuca is what led to the separation into different species. The third species of the forest cobra complex we'll see is this, Naja savanula, the West African banded cobra. Compared to the other 2 we saw in this video, this species is much more visibly different with the beautiful yellowish bands. These to me are the most beautiful of the forest cobras. The venom of the forest cobra is highly neurotoxic. Forest cobras in general are considered one of the most difficult cobras to handle due to their quick movements and nervous behavior. They're almost like mambas in cobra form. They're great at climbing, great at swimming, great at being on the ground. All around, just an incredible species of snake. The other 2 species of forest cobra that we didn't see are Naja subvulva and Naja perioechabari. Now although I didn't get as much footage of the other 2 species of forest cobra, Which out of the 3 forest cobras that you saw is your favorite? Let me know in the comments below. The Samar spitting cobra, Naja samarensis, also called the southern Philippine cobra. As this common name suggests, this snake is native to the Philippines. Now the average length of adults is anywhere from 4 to 5 feet long, and their coloration is incredible. The yellow, the black, sometimes even green coloration. Very beautiful and highly toxic cobra. Now this species will feed primarily on rodents such as rats and mice, but they'll also feed on smaller reptiles or even amphibians such as frogs. But their main food source being rodents, that attracts them to where people are, leading to conflict. In the northern regions of the Philippines is another species of spitting cobra, the Philippine spitting cobra, Naja philippinensis. And this species ranks as the top 3 most venomous true cobras, based on tests done on mice. The most toxic of all the true cobras is the Caspian cobra, Naja oxyana. The red spitting cobra, Naja pallida, found in Africa. This is a medium-sized cobra. Doesn't get as long as some of the other species of Naja, averaging around 2 to 4 feet long. Now, the species is given the common name due to their coloration. Depending on where they're found, they can either be pale red coloration or even bright red. And they have the beautiful black coloration on their hood and an incredible black teardrop right under the eye. And we see 2 different red spitting cobras in this video. Both are babies, very tiny, very quick to spit, but only after they feel cornered. The first course of action was trying to flee. Like most spitting cobras, the venom of Naja pallida contains a mixture of neurotoxins and cytotoxins, and the spitting is used for defense. They capture prey just like any other venomous snake by biting and injecting venom. Have you ever heard of the red spitting cobra? The Brazilian lancehead, Bothrops mugini, found in South America, a massive pit viper, reaching lengths of 5 to 6 feet or even more. Now these massive vipers are considered one of the most difficult vipers to deal with. So similar to the forest cobra, how I mentioned people consider them to be one of the most difficult cobras to deal with, well, pretty much all Bothrops fall in that category for the vipers. Large size, typically very defensive, long strike ranges. One of the most common Bothrops you may have heard of is the fer-de-lance, feared in South America. Although fer-de-lance is sometimes used for many different species of Bothrops, the one that it's actually referring to is Bothrops asper. A very incredible fact about another species in the genus Bothrops, Bothrops duraca, is one of the top drugs of all times used for blood pressure is derived from venom of that species. How incredible is that? And this isn't the only snake in this video that we'll hear about a medication that's used by people derived from snake venom. But wow, what do you think of the Bothrops mugini? The pattern from the side almost looks like a copperhead's Hershey Kiss pattern, doesn't it? The red Carolina pygmy rattlesnake, Cistrurus miliaris. Although this one is red, not all of the Carolina pygmy rattlesnakes are this color. And there's also 3 subspecies. The western pygmy rattlesnake, Cistrurus miliaris streckeri, and the dusky pygmy rattlesnake, Cistrurus miliaris barbori. The average length of this snake is around 1.5 to 2 feet long, so not very big. The rattle on the pygmy rattlesnakes compared to those in the genus Crotalus, very tiny. You can only hear a faint buzzing from a few feet away. Another thing is, just like the cantil, baby pygmy rattlesnakes are born with a different colored tail tip to attract and lure prey. And these snakes are tiny when they're born. This one in this video is very small, and it's not baby. It's a little bit bigger, but still about the size of a $50. and this one also is incredible in person. The lighter coloration around the pattern is almost white. Such a stunning snake. I mentioned during the Bothrops about medication derived from snake venom. The pygmy rattlesnake, the venom, is cytotoxic and hemotoxic, and it was used in the development of a drug, eptifibatide, a drug used to prevent clotting during a heart attack. And that's one of the things I always try to mention about snakes. They're healers naturally, out in the wild, eating animals that are sick, eliminating that disease, even diseases that can spread to us. When they consume that creature, it eliminates it and stops it right there. But we've also used their venom to create medications that help us in many ways. These two that were mentioned in this video are not the only medicines derived from snake venom. Incredible animals. And venom, I understand it scares people, but it's just another method of how these snakes capture food. They don't want to waste their venom on us. So the best thing you can do to avoid any problems out if you're walking or doing anything is just to keep an eye where you're stepping, where you're putting your hands. Keep your distance if you see one, and just leave it alone. They don't want to bother you. It's very simple. And let me know what you think of this little red pygmy rattlesnake. And I'm telling you, in person, this snake is unreal. This video does not do it justice. The Indo-Chinese spitting cobra, Naja siamensis, also known as the black and white spitting cobra, Thai spitting cobra, plus many other common names. This is a species found in Southeast Asia. They're a medium-sized species of cobra, with adults averaging around 3 to 4 feet in length. It should be clear from the two siamensis shown in this video why they have the common name black and white spitting cobra. You'll also see how variable their patterns are even between the two shown in this video. This one has a black stripe down the back along with black speckling on the white sides. The other has black and white banding. Some have just a black stripe and a pure white side with none of that black speckling. Others can be completely black, and some are even brownish in coloration. This difference is usually based on where they're found. Another variability in the pattern of the species is in their hood marking. As you'll see, the pattern is the spectacle shape seen on Indian cobras, also known as a spectacled cobra, Naja. But this hood pattern can be barely visible or even absent in some individuals. One incredible difference noted between spitting cobras found in Asia versus Africa is the way the venom comes out when they spit. Those in Asia have more of a mist, whereas those in Africa have a stream. It's believed this is due to their environment. In Africa, the wide open landscape means they have to be able to accurately hit their target, even from a large distance away. Those in Asia, in the jungles for instance, are up close, leading to the misting type spray. The venom of Naja siamensis is similar to other spitting cobras, a mixture of neurotoxins and cytotoxins. Another incredible thing about venomous snakes is their variation in venom toxicity or even composition, even within the same species, depending on factors such as diet. The type of prey in the specific area is a leading pressure on the venom, which is another demonstration on how venom is used for capturing prey. But there's one thing to note with spitting cobras. Although they're a rare occurrence of snakes using venom for defense, spitting cobras still bite and capture prey like any other venomous snake, biting, injecting venom. And the prey of the Naja siamensis would be things such as rodents, toads, other amphibians, and even other snakes. And them feeding on rodents does lead to them being found in areas where people are. Another thing that I don't think I mentioned in the last video, but we'll mention it here: reproduction in cobras. Those belonging to the genus Naja, so the true cobras, are oviparous, which means that they are egg layers. So all the true cobras lay eggs. With the Naja siamensis, they can lay anywhere from 5 to even 20 or more eggs. They'll usually hatch anywhere from 50 to 70 or so days. And there is no parental care, so once the babies hatch, they're completely independent, on their own. going their separate ways, and they're fully equipped with venom. And what they'll feed on, being so small, are little amphibians such as baby frogs or baby toads. Now, one thing about the babies is the white coloration is almost cream colored. As they age, it turns much brighter, but it starts cream colored, turns white over time. What an incredible snake. Now, out of these two, which one did you like better? Just based on appearance, the striped one or the banded one? The western diamondback rattlesnake, Crotalus atrox. This iconic snake is found in the southwestern United States as well as Mexico. As with any species of rattlesnake, these are pit vipers. Adult western diamondback rattlesnakes average around 4 feet in length, but some individuals can get quite large, 5 foot to even 6 foot in extremely rare occurrences. Males are larger than females. The coloration is variable from brownish, pinkish, or even red. When I mention this variation in color, I'm referring to those in the wild. I say this because there are many different morphs bred in captivity, which we'll get into shortly. In this video, we see a wild type coloration and a type of albino. The diamond-shaped pattern is of course where their common name comes from. The tails of the western diamondback rattlesnakes have white and black bands, which is why another common name you may hear is coontail. That being said, other species of Crotalus, such as the Mojave rattlesnake, also have similar tail bandings, and some Mojave rattlesnakes look almost identical to western diamondbacks, though there is slight difference in the tail banding. The face of the atrox has a grayish-whitish stripe below the eye. The venom of Crotalus atrox is primarily hemotoxic, but as with pretty much every venomous snake, there's also other mixtures of venom as well, such as cytotoxins and myotoxins. They have a wide variety of prey, mainly small mammals, and this includes many different species of rats, mice, as well as ground squirrels, prairie dogs, and even rabbits. Other prey items include lizards, amphibians, and birds. Predators of the western diamondback rattlesnake include foxes, coyotes, hawks, owls, and other birds of prey. Atrox and rattlesnakes in general are viviparous, giving live birth. That being said, there are vipers that lay eggs, such as the bushmaster. I mention this because I feel not many people realize that. Amazing, isn't it? When baby rattlesnakes are born, they have what's called a button on their tail. When they shed, they gain a segment to their rattle. There's a common myth that you can tell the age of a rattlesnake by counting the number of segments on a rattlesnake's rattle, but that is not true at all. Each time they shed, they gain a segment. Babies, especially, will shed many times a year, gaining a segment each time. Another thing is when a rattle is long, they often get caught on things as a snake moves throughout the environment, breaking the rattle. So a 10-year-old rattlesnake, for instance, could be found with only 2 segments even. The rattle is composed of keratin, and they're also hollow. They are interlocked, and the speed at which the rattlesnake rattles is what creates the sound, one of the fastest contracting muscles in the animal kingdom. As I mentioned earlier, there are tons of morphs of Crotalus atrox, albinos, melanistic, patternless, even scaleless. These random mutations can occur naturally in the wild, of course, but that'd be extremely rare compared to being bred specifically for these genes. I always say that western diamondbacks are like the ball pythons of the rattlesnake world, with how many morphs there are. We need to mention rattlesnake roundups, an event that occurs to this day, labeled a family event where hundreds of western diamondbacks are collected and slaughtered. The most bizarre thing to me is that you can see kids' handprints on the wall using the blood of the snakes. It's insane to me this still goes on. With how much outrage there is for any other animal getting mistreated in other parts of the world, yet we treat one of our most iconic animals here like this. There's much more that goes on there too, such as sewing their mouths shut so people can hold, and bizarre things like that. Craziness. And with that, there are events that other people put on to educate the public, teaching you about the native wildlife instead of slaughtering the native wildlife. So I highly suggest, if you're interested in going to some event, go to one that's educating you about the wildlife and learn to appreciate them. The monocle cobra, Naja Kiyuthia, another species of cobra found in Asia. Adults average in length from 4 to 5 foot. They can grow larger though, even up to 7 feet long. Although the two monocle cobras we see in this video are morphs, you can see where they get their common name from. That single circular O-shaped pattern. Monocle cobras also vary in coloration, typically depending on where they are found. They can be either brown, gray, black, or even yellowish. They can have banding in their pattern or none at all. Even the monocle pattern on the hood can vary in shape. Some don't fully connect, some are ovalish instead of a perfect circle, but as we've seen with pretty much every snake we've talked about in these videos, there's typically some form of variation in pattern in one way or another. Monocle cobras have a highly neurotoxic venom, as well as others such as myotoxins and cardiotoxins. Although this species is not a spitting cobra, some individuals have a tendency to fling venom, somewhat similar to spitting. Another cobra species that has been observed doing this is the Chinese cobra, Naja atra. In the other video, we saw two snakes whose venom was used in the development of medication, one of which is one of the top drugs of all time, used for blood pressure. Naja Kyuthia venom has some interesting aspects of it too, such as anti-cancer activity. Another study being done with their venom is for pain medication, and the action of this component acts independent of the opioid pathways, meaning no risk of developing withdrawal symptoms or addiction like that of opioid pain medication. Incredible stuff. With the western diamondback rattlesnake, I mentioned how they were like the ball pythons of the rattlesnake world due to how many morphs there are. The same is true with monocle cobras in the cobra world. There are tons of morphs. The one seen here is a leucistic monocle cobra. Leucism is a genetic condition resulting in reduced pigmentation, leading to the white coloration. This is different from albinism because the mutation does not affect the pigment cells in the eyes, leading to leucistic animals having normal colored eyes compared to the red eyes of an albino. Leucistic monocle cobras are almost pink in coloration as babies, but turn white as they age. Which out of these two did you like better? Comment below. The Angolan coral cobra, Spitalaps lubricus cowlesi. First thing you probably notice is that the name is a little longer, and that's because this is a subspecies of the Cape coral cobra, Spitalaps lubricus. These are a species of venomous snake in the family Elapidae. They're found in southern Africa. You might also notice cobra in the common name, but they do not belong in the genus Naja, that of true cobras. Think of these like pygmy rattlesnakes to the other rattlesnakes. In the last video we saw a pygmy rattlesnake in the genus Cistrurus compared to the other rattlesnakes in the genus Crotalus. Think of these like that. Similar to true cobras, but not in the same genus. The Spitalaps versus Naja. Now these are small snakes, averaging around 1.5 to 2 feet long. The ones in this video are a pair, male and female, but you see the beautiful pattern, the banding, the reddish orange head. Just incredible snakes. Very beautiful. The venom of this snake is not well studied, but what is known is that it's very similar to that of other elapids, like those in the genus Naja, the true cobras. And these snakes, being very small, feed on small animals, little lizards, small rodents, and even other snakes. These are egg layers just like that of true cobras. And imagine a baby, super tiny. These will spread a hood and hiss just like true cobras, but their hood is not as wide as that of Naja. Very beautiful. What do you think of these snakes? Have you heard of them before? The equatorial spitting cobra, Naja sumatrana, also known as the Palawan spitting cobra or Malayan spitting cobra. It's a species found in Southeast Asia. Unfortunately, this one didn't stop moving, so the footage I have of it is not the best, and I didn't get much of it. But this is a medium-sized cobra, averaging in length of 3 to 4 feet long. Of course, it can get bigger, even closer to 5 foot. This species of cobra does not have a hood marking, but you may have noticed that little white outline on the side of the hood. Very beautiful. And they come in different colors too. This one is almost pinkish cream colored, but they can also be found black and even yellow. And this of course depends on where they're found. And like other spitting cobras, their venom is a mixture of neurotoxins, cardiotoxins, and cytotoxins. The puff adder, Bitis aureatans, found throughout Africa. Highly venomous viper species, and unlike all the other vipers in the last video and this one, these are not pit vipers. These are true vipers, so they lack the pits, they just have nostrils. Now, although this one's a little baby, they can grow to lengths of around 3 foot to 5 foot, so they can get quite large. And since they have a wide distribution throughout Africa, they can be found in many different colors and patterns. Typically, all have the chevron-shaped patterns, but some are very beautiful in coloration, some are kind of dull. You notice the genus Bitis is the same genus of the gaboon viper and rhino viper. Both of those are species in the same genus as this puff adder. Incredible. These are heavy-bodied. They'll move in the same way as the gaboon viper and rhino viper, the rectilinear locomotion, where they look like a little caterpillar moving straight forward. But that doesn't mean they can't move quick. They can move like a normal snake when they're startled. The common name puff adder is due to their defensive mechanism of huffing and puffing. It's very loud. Gaboon vipers and rhino vipers will do that as well. These are fast-striking snakes. And with this fast strike, they coil up in this very impressive pose and launch themselves very far. And their venom is highly cytotoxic. In puff adders, they give live birth. I hope you enjoyed this video. There will be a few things in the description to check out. The previous part with all the cell phone footage and handling of all the snakes. Also Colin's Instagram. Be sure to go follow him. All the snakes we saw in this video were all his amazing and beautiful animals. But I hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned something. Click like, click subscribe. And big shout out to those that support. Channel members, Patreons, and those that donate in other ways. If you want to support, consider doing one of these 3 things. Love y'all. Be back soon.